January. Now that elections behind us, earnings are kind of behind us for majority of S&P 500 companies at least. And especially on YouTube. The difference between Yellow Tunnel and Tradespoon and maybe some of the other subscriptions out there is that my background is technology. I was a CTO of several publicly traded companies that went public. Broker-dealers, hedge fund, Options Express. I was the first employee. So my background technology, building technologies, and we have a team of financial engineers at Tradespoon and Yellow Tunnel that are building new models using latest advances in artificial intelligence, and then I'm using these models to generate signals and trade them. Disclosures are very important. Please read them. If you haven't seen the screen, I am. So you can understand the risk associated with trading stock or options. And you can always pause the screen if you need more time to read the disclosures. But the bottom line is that I'm not an advisor, right? I'm not registered with FINRA or SEC. I'm here to show you what I do in my own account. What I do in my own account with my own risk tolerance level for general education information purposes only. All right, let's take a look. We do have almost a red wave or red sweep. What is the latest election results? No, House is not decided. So 292 to 24, right? Trump won. Electoral votes and general votes. Senate got flipped, 52, 43. And House is, we need 218 for majority. So still few places that are, GOP needs another 17 seats. So that's election. How does the trade look after the elections? DJT has been a good proxy for the elections. It's actually down, right? Elevator up, elevator down. That's interesting. I didn't even notice that. On above average volume, right? What's not down is 10-year yield at least. 10-year yield broke to the 4.3, right? We talked about that because some of the major support and resistance levels had been broken. Right, so we talked about 4.3 as a big overhead resistance in October of 22, that when we had the first, we had the recession and bear market for, over a year. And then it was overhead resistance in 24, February, right? We broke through it several times, but still pattern of lower highs. And now we're at 4.2. So let's look at this. Let's plot this here and here. Okay. So it looks like we're facing, again, this important, where did it go? So it looks like we're facing a very important overhead resistance, right? The 4.3, 4.42 marginal highs this week again, with the expectation that net inflationary forces, higher tariffs, and potentially, the prices for cars, the prices for some of the groceries will go up, right? Nobody knows the details. I think Trump was the president before. We know that he's using this as a leverage to get better, deals with Mexico and European Union and China. So we don't know the details. Somebody actually said that in 2016, the first time he imposed taxes was 11 months after he was, took in office. So we're talking about a year from now, right? So at some point, this trade is overdone and could pull back. But in 2016, it actually took a while, right? So if we're going to assume that history repeats itself, right, in November, when he got elected in 2016, rates were just continuing to go higher, right? They never stopped, right? And, they peaked only in March, and then they pulled back, right? But not even to the same levels. So right now it's different. 2016, we just had a recession. We had one of the highest inflationary forces. Now it's in disinflation. So it doesn't have to be the same way, but at least for now, you could obviously see that the 10-year yield continues to rally. Dollar also continues to rally. right? Strong move in dollar. What did dollar do 2016? I assume the same. Let's see if my assumption is correct. Yep. Yeah, so it went up, higher. It did peak at the end of December, and then it had a strong pullback. Then the dollar had a strong pullback. So divergence between the interest rates and the dollar. For now, they're moving in the same direction. They have been moving in the same direction. But in 2016, they might diverge. So we have to keep an eye on dollar and 10-year yield. So what else? We talked about Bitcoin as one of the biggest beneficiary, all-time highs. Looks like a clean breakout. NVIDIA is breaking out. I think it's new all-time highs trying to break out. So banks in general, right, whether it's Morgan Stanley, Bank of New York, or Wells Fargo, that has a lot of move to the upside, strong momentum to the upside. Deregulation, the idea is it's going to be good for small, regional, even large cap banks that have most of the exposure in the United States. And industrials made new highs and continue to go higher. And I think jets are following along, right? Some of the transportation sectors are also strong move to the upside. Fred, good morning. How are you? So that's what's happening right now. I think in terms of gamma, we were talking about 590, right? If you look at the gamma charts, let's do SPS. See if people were placing large bets overnight. So let's remove this week. This Friday, November 8th, then November 15, and December 20. Okay, so those are the 3 dates. So we said that the high open interest was at 590, right? 595. That's kind of where we're trading right now. 592, 595. And now, well, actually, SPX is a little bit different. Very large gamma at 6,000. 6,000. SPY actually doesn't have 6,000. At least when I checked, it did not. But let's do the same thing. May 8th. It's shown up. Okay. So now 6,000 is overhead resistance. So if assuming that we can escape 590, we're trading at 591, then the next level is 600. Next level is 600. As an overhead resistance. And if you look at the stock forecast toolbox, pre-election, trend was negative, market was overbought, pulled back. Adjustment in terms of end of the month, end of the year, it could be 600, right? 600, maybe even 610. But momentum is deteriorating. I think it's picking up. We'll see if there is a follow-through. But for now, those are the trends, right? So I would be buying into pullbacks on the cyclicals. Because even from the seasonality point of view, everything kind of rally continues on. Any questions on the elections, Trump trade? Usually you want to wait at least one more, especially tomorrow and Friday, but assuming that tomorrow and Friday, if Friday we close at the same level, if Friday we're going to close the same level, and this is actually confirmed breakout, in spiders and in QQQ, then the rally is going to continue. Right? The rally will continue. Any questions? All right, we have more people. Brad, Fred, Martin, Patrick. All right. So let's look at the trades. I actually had several trades that got executed. Obviously, volatility. Another thing is volatility, right? VIX dropped back to, I think, 16-15 last time I checked. What was it? It was actually as low as 15. So we dropped from 22, 24, all the way to 15. right? Because the uncertainty now with the elections has been removed, right? The market does not like uncertainty. They kind of already know what Trump will or will not do, and they feel comfortable with that. And they feel comfortable, at least for now. So I'm trimming some of the positions, right? Some of the longs, and I need to figure out what to do with shorts. So BK, I already have closed, I think, most of the position because I left into this trade several times. I would maybe put a trade, so what's it, close 80, so 80-10, 80-10. So I think I have a fraction of the shares left, 80-10. I already have it, sorry. 83, let me change it to 80-10. Okay, so I trimmed at 79.60, right? 79.60, and sell the remaining shares at $80.10. So that's Bank of New York. ExxonMobil, right? I added to ExxonMobil, and I got exited at 124, right? So this is kind of the idea of dollar cost average that, if you do have these pullbacks, you don't want to be down more than 2.5%. Because I bought it at 77, then I bought it at 75, closed at 79, right? So, here, when it dropped to 75, I was down only less than 2.5%. Then I can make a decision, right? So I, added it, right? I added, and now I was able, on these shares captured $4, right? So 5% return. So that would be the same idea with ExxonMobil. With options, sometimes it doesn't work because you run out of time. But with stock, usually you have time. And then let's see, do I still have that spread? I probably don't need it. Is it worth anything? No. So the spread is going to expire worthless. That was the hedge. But I added to my shares, right? So I did. I bought at 123. I bought at 121. And I trimmed at 121.44. And I have the next batches at 123.40. So I bought at 118 and closed 123.40. So that's ExxonMobil, Bank of New York. Wells Fargo got filled, right? Wells Fargo got filled. Very strong move in Wells Fargo. Been bullish on this stock. Continued to trade. That trade worked out. Continues to work out. Strong momentum. Wells Fargo. Netflix. What is Netflix trading? Probably can close it. It's a December position, so I have time. What is it trading? $3.50, so maybe 425, 430. I only bought it for $4. I'm gonna wait and see. Wait until I get filled for 480. Capture 20%. Wells Fargo I captured it in $1.30, so that's almost over 30%, maybe 35%, 40%. Palantir. Let's see. So let's look at Palantir. So I still have that credit spread, the bearish part. I close all the bullish spreads. Let's see, Palantir, 95 cents. So this is a good example of Palantir, right? Because if you wait, right, and you have an event like elections, and it goes through the strike, right? I had a 50 strike. And now it gravitated toward 55, right? We talked about that there was a position, but if you have an event and it escapes that strike price, right? The now you're at 55, right? And if it escapes 55, it can go to 60. So closing butterfly for 95 cents. So that was a successful trade, right? Because I put the trade for 48. So almost 100% return. So that worked out. This spread worked out well, and then I tried to break it apart. Right, I closed the 47.50 for $1.75. Well, in retrospect, because of the rally, that was a mistake because now it's at maximum gain, $3. And obviously 47 and 50. I have 50-53 spread. Well, now it's almost at maximum gain. So here I'm actually losing money at this point. So for me to make money, Pelletier has to drop below 53, right? It has to reverse maybe after that decision, right? Maybe, but for now it's almost at the maximum gain. So at this point I can't lose anymore, right? On that second spread. But for me to make money on the second spread, it has to drop below 53, right? Because it did move higher. Thank you, Fred. Martin, what are my thoughts on DJT? All of these trades are overdone, right? Whether it's DJT, right, that elevator up, elevator down, or even crude oil, right? Elevator up, elevator down. I think it's overdone. So I think it will pull back, right? Especially a 10-year yield. But you just don't know how far the elevator is going to go. If you look at DJT, which is a very speculative kind of emotional trade, it's not like the company is generating a lot of money. But this was more of a emotional trade that's kind of above this, elevator up, pull back. I doubt we're going to break 56 level anytime soon, right? I think the top is set. Maybe marginally can go higher. I don't know what the next overhead resistance is. The year-to-date high was what? Yeah, 55. I mean, I guess it could get to 75. But I think until it clears 55, I think it's trades between 30 and 55. So maybe at 30 you buy, at 55 you sell. But obviously this is after the election, the fact that it's still up 7% compared to yesterday, but you do have this large reversal. That's usually a negative pattern. So the question is, will QQQ and spiders have this large reversal? We'll see. We'll look at the, press conference tomorrow and let the dust settle on Friday and see if, it's a false breakout and we have elevator up, elevator down, or we're actually going to continue going higher. Thank you, Martin. Any other questions? So that's Pelletier. Let's see, what else did I do today? So we talk Bank of New York, ExxonMobil, Wells Fargo, we talk about Netflix, United Airlines, strong move in United Airlines. I'm trying to get out at $4.80. All right, that's continuation of the airline trades. So now it's deep in the money. It's just a matter of waiting for the time premium to decay. So this is another trade, kind of a Trump trade. Trump red victory that cyclicals are going to do well, right? Your airlines, your industrials, banks tend to do well in when you expect lower regulations, higher tariffs, right, protectionism. Then those are the trades. That's it. That's it. So we can look at the other positions. LA Lilly, another Trump trade, right? So the trades that are the opposite of Trump is LA Lilly, right? We can see healthcare just took a big dive, right? Actually a rally, but then reversal. So healthcare is very weak at 200-day moving average in general. The trade was overdone and now it's pulling back, right? Because Trump again might want to cut the prices of the some of the drugs. So LA Lilly is back to August lows. Important level, it's the reactionary low to the earnings, and it's August lows, right? I'm not sure if there's any support below that. Let's look. So probably next level would be 716,700, right? So that's another 10% drop. So if Friday we're still trading lower and LA Lily cannot, it was a good trade. I bought, sold several times, but now, with the Trump rally, you don't know how long it's going to continue. So that's LA Lily. Meta is doing well. It's just a time premium. I have deep in the money 540, 535 call spread at this point. Just a matter of time. It's actually November 15. I don't even know. 50, 75, 430. Okay. Anyway, but I think VIX continues to drop. Meta is going to get filled. We talked about Meta. We talked about Netflix. We talked about NVIDIA. Made marginal new high. So I have an order to close NVIDIA. 500, 505. My theory was it's a hedge and we're not going to break this level. Day one, we're above this level. Day two, day three, for above this level, I would get out of this trade. It was a hedge for elections. Elections are over. Assuming that the dust settles today, tomorrow, and Friday, and QQQ is still at this level, I would close the hedge. Same thing goes for SH, and same thing goes for SLV. Right. I mean, I like SLV. I've been long. 2023, 2024 has been good trade, but it's the 10-year yield trade. And if it's going to be a repeat of 2016, where 10-year continues to rally to even 4.8%, that means silver is going to continue to sell. Right? Silver is going to continue to sell, and I would get out of the position. We talked about United Airlines. We talked about ExxonMobil. So that's about it. Those models will run the next couple of days, and then next week we can open new positions. Right? We'll get rid of some of these positions, open new position, and it should be better. NVIDIA, trade what you see, not what you think. What I see is that NVIDIA did break out, just like QQQ. It is creating new highs. I don't know if it's decisive breakout, but again, assuming for Thursday and Friday we are closing at this level, right? Assuming we're closing this level, in terms of, it has earnings in a couple of weeks, right? So you do have earnings you have to go through. Let's see. 150. So there's a high gamma at 150. It needs to clear 150 level, right? It has to clear 150 level. So the first overhead is this 150. Support is kind of evenly divided. Maybe 140 is the next one. So somewhere between 140 and 150 is the trade. Position-wise, gamma-wise, this is where your high open interests are. This is almost $50 million of gamma exposure, and this is almost 55. So I think support is 140, overhead resistance on 50. 140 is this week low. Open price a little bit higher. So 136, 140 is your support, and the highs is 150. So you have at least short-term 4 hours. Any other questions? All right, let's do some earnings and see if we can find another Pelletier. Let's see, how did CVS do? My friend has a big position, CVS. I always feel bad for him. Hope they have good earnings. Let's see, CVS. It's not bad. It's not bad. % on earnings. All right, so that's a good trade, right? You have a clearly defined stop 55, and well, I mean, you want continuation, but so far it looks pretty good, pretty good. He should be, my friend should be happy. We have Qualcomm after hours. We have Gilead after hours. Let's see anything else interesting. Let's see. Trying to view. Okay, earnings. What are the earnings? Okay, so Qualcomm is ARM. So we have Qualcomm, ARM, Mercado Libre, Bob's favorite stocks, Mercado Libre. How's Mercado Libre doing? Is Mercado Libre also from trade? It's up. Oh no, 87 cents. Okay. How's Qualcomm doing? Okay, so Qualcomm has been underperforming. ARM also has been underperforming. Okay. So we have a few more AI stocks. All right, let's do this. ARM is one. Let's see. Let me see what's Palantir, ARM, Qualcomm. ARM, Qualcomm. What else do we do? ARM, Qualcomm. That's about it today in terms of liquidity. Duke Energy, no thank you, not liquid. Datadog, pretty volatile. Let's look at Datadog. Hershey Gold. Yeti. These are small caps. Okay. Those are the stocks that obviously has large volume, tightened bid and ask spread, high demand, high open interest. People like to trade these names. I mean, they're all over 100,000 shares. I mean, all pretty liquid. I mean, ARM is popular, Qualcomm, but let's see how well, what the position looks like. ARM. This is a AI darling. 145, 1 standard deviation, 157, about 10% move. You have very high open interest, goes over all the way to 170, 180. All right, let's look at the quotes. Okay, so highest open interest is at 160. And then 165. $70. So 20% would be $30. So that would be 175. So 170, 175, 180, I think, is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, 175. See, 170 is what? Nope, 165. 162 and a half. Okay, so 162 and a half, 175. Actually a pretty wide range. What is $12.50? 12 and a half would be 187 and a half. So 1250 and 1250. Can buy it for 85 cents. That's a little bit expensive. Okay. 4. Okay. Okay. So that's if we go into the butterflies, like the second leg. In the middle of these strikes, what did I do? I actually did 175, right? So 175, the strike in the middle. Assuming it's not going to move 1 standard deviation, right? But we'll move 2 standard deviation, right? Like arm holding. Not arm holding, AMD, right? AMD was a sharp pullback, right? So if it moves that and you pick the second strike to be 175, like I did, so 162 and a half, 175, you're basically risking $1 to make $11, right? 15% probability. I mean, if you want higher probability, you have to pick strike that's closer to where the stock is trading, right? So then probability goes up, but the payout goes down, right? So you either go after higher payout or you go higher probability, or you do something in the middle. I mean, there's no right or wrong. It's just distribution of different outcomes. But you know, you do know that it needs to clear 160 level first. So ideally, you want to be close with your long call. You want to be close to that 160 because that's, if there is a positive news, that's probably where it's going to gravitate toward. And same thing on the downside. If there's bad news, it will probably gravitate toward 130. right? Because, you know, we've seen AMD, we've seen, you know, super microcomputer, right? Super microcomputer. All right, it doesn't always trade in one direction, right? Case in point, super microcomputer is down 17%. Tuesday, November 5th. Okay, no, that's today. Yeah, despite the election, down 17%. All right, should have done super microcomputer. Okay, that's fine. So 175 is the middle strike. So here I'm probably good. If I did 175, $30 to the downside, that would be 115, 120. I don't know if you have any questions on ARM. So middle price, I did 175, that's 31.15. See what is 115 strike trading at? 35 cents. I can get closer. 120 was the 120 middle strike. 68 cents. So 120. So middle strike 120 and then long 130. Let's see how much is 130 trading at. It's expensive. 130, 120. Not sure if I want to trade that. Let's see, 128. Better. So 128, 120, 112. So it'll be $8 the ways of the strikes because there's less demand for the puts. All right, any questions on ARM holding? Let's see, Datadog. That guy, Datadog, big moves here, big moves here, large moves here. So this guy is extremely volatile, also in AI space. Also, I would just do butterfly, so you can kind of know what your risk is. And you can see who's trading what. This is actually a lot clearer. So 140. One standard deviation is 7% move, a little bit higher. 7%, 10% would be 12. So 12 plus 128, 140. Let's do 50 strikes. Is there more? Yeah, no. 140. Somebody's buying a lot of 140. Okay. Let's assume they're right. Datadog, it's a technology company, right? Infrastructure, AI. Let's see, middle strike. Okay, so let's assume that it's gonna go to 140. Ooh, $1.80. That's expensive. That is expensive. 145. Next strike. $1. Okay. 145. Let's see, 140. Okay. Go further. 138. So 152. 150. So 7.7, so 65 cents. So middle strike, selected middle strike to be 145. So I have 138, right? So 138 would be one standard deviation. That's the 138 strike. And then the middle strike is 145, with the idea that it will come here and stay or push somewhere in here, like Pelletier, like AMD did. Any questions on Datadog? And then on the downside, let's see. Not a lot of strikes on the downside, right? Nobody's hedging. So that's usually could be invitation for move to the downside. So middle strike, if I did 145, that's 17. So at 110, let's see how much is 110 strike. There's not much demand. So it's the same thing. Yeah, so really no position 110. Let's see, 120. Nope. 118. Nope. 116. So 116, 110, 104. 116, 110, 104. We don't really have any big positions, so try to do equidistant. So I can put the trade for, and pretty wide bid and ask spreads. So that's not good. See, 105. 105 is better. 150. Okay, better. Okay, so let's do 40 cents. $252. Okay. So I have Datadog, but primary focus, if it's positive news, that it gravitates toward ELF earnings today. Keith mentioned Hershey put spread. That makes sense. Spokane, thank you, Bob. Bearish engulfing pattern on Hershey. Hershey looks bearish. Yeah, it does look bearish. It does look bearish. Right, it just continues. And I know in this model, weekly trader, and Hershey has been negative for quite some time. I mean, it's oversold, but it did break through year-to-date low. So they need good earnings. They need good earnings. And finally, let's see. Do I want to do Qualcomm? How's the Qualcomm? How's the earnings? It hasn't been super volatile. It moves 6%. Yeah, 6%. Let's see, is there any big position? Yeah, so one standard deviation is 6%, 7%. So it's about 185. You have pretty large position at 190. So 185, 190, 195. Let's see. Trade option. Qualcomm, Butterfly. Metal strike, let's see. 185. That's expensive. 190. That's also pretty expensive. Let's see, 192.50. 195. Okay, 195. So let's see, 190. That's the highest interest. 190. 190, 195. I can actually go 187.5. 187.5. That looks good. Maybe even 185. 185, 195, and 205. 205. How much is that? 96 cents. That's expensive. 1.5 and 2.5. That's more reasonable. Okay, that is more reasonable. Okay, so you can spend 55 cents if you pick 195 as your middle strike. 195 is the middle strike. This is pretty expensive, so that can be a long leg. So I did 187.5 as my long leg. Yeah, pretty wide bid and ask spread. It's not good. It is not good. Okay. So 187.5, 195 is, I was able to fill in for 70 cents. And on the downside, so middle strike 160. Let's see, how much is 160 strike? No, that's expensive. 155. It's also expensive. 150. Mm, 150. 52.5 build, and then you have large, so one standard deviation is 160. Yeah. 3.5, 145. Okay. So middle strike 152.5. 152.5. All right. Any questions on ARM? Data dog. All right, guys. How did market close? Let's see. Let's see how did market close, or about to close. So 10-year yield is at almost session high. So high yield is actually flat. VIX is down 20%. Value stocks are close to session high, so bullish. Price action on QQQ is up. Marginally high. Spiders are marginally higher, but level. Biggest winners are small caps are at session high, and regional banks are at session high. All right, all eyes on the Fed tomorrow and the follow through. We'll see where we're going to close by Friday. It'll be interesting to see Friday's close, if the bullish momentum can continue. Thank you very much, and have a great day.